Chers collègues, j'appelle à l'ordre cette séance du Comité permanent de la justice. Je voudrais accueillir le député à l'Assemblée législative pour la circonscription de Don Valley West, ministre d'Agriculture et Alimentation et notre 25e Premier ministre, the Honourable Kathleen Wynne, and I'd invite you, Premier, to be sworn in by the clerk.
Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give to this committee touching the subject of the present inquiry shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Premier. As you're well aware of the protocol, you have 5 minutes to make your introductory remarks, followed by rotation by questions. I invite you respectfully, please begin now.
Thank you very much, and I'll read quite quickly because I have a number of things that I want to say. Thank you for inviting me here today. As Premier, I have been very clear to the entire government, Cabinet Ministers, MPPs, the Civil Service and the OPA that we need to be open and transparent on all aspects of the relocation of the Mississauga and Oakville gas plants. To that end, I am pleased to have the opportunity to explain my involvement in these files. I support the decisions to relocate these two gas plants. We listened to the residents of Mississauga and Oakville, and I understand that those decisions were also supported by the opposition parties, including their local members and candidates. The siting of these two plants failed to take into account the views of the community. Despite expert advice, despite an open procurement process, and all the decision points along the way, the overall process failed. I have been very clear that I regret that we didn't have a different process in place. As Premier, I have taken several important steps on these files. I have discussed this issue with the two opposition leaders and continue to be open to further conversations on this matter. I offered a select committee. When that was rejected, we broadened the mandate of the Justice Committee to consider all aspects of the relocations. I requested that the Auditor General expand his review to include the Oakville relocation. I asked the Liberal Committee members to put forward a motion requesting all documents government-wide, but the opposition voted that down. And I've made it clear from day one that I would testify before this committee when called. I've been called, and here I am. Let me now share with you my activities on these files, starting with Oakville. I was not involved in the decision to relocate the Oakville plant. 8 months after the decision was announced, on July 29, 2011, as Minister of Transportation, I, along with 3 other Cabinet Ministers, signed a Cabinet Minute. That minute authorized the Ministry of Energy to formalize settlement discussions with TransCanada and enter into an agreement under the Arbitration Act should negotiations fail. This was reported into Cabinet on August 10, 2011, a meeting I also attended. On October 3, 2012, I was present at a Cabinet meeting which included a report back from Treasury Board on the negotiation mandate they had approved for the TransCanada negotiations. With respect to the Mississauga relocation, I served as Vice Chair of the 2011 Liberal election campaign. The issue of the Mississauga power plant and relocation was never raised at any of the meetings I attended. I learned about the campaign commitment from media reports. After the election, I was appointed Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing and Minister of Aboriginal Affairs. The new Cabinet met on October 20, 2011, and there was a high-level discussion that the government was moving forward on the commitment to relocate the Mississauga plant. On November 21, 2011, I, along with 3 other Cabinet Ministers, signed a Cabinet Minute approving a $10 million settlement with Eastern Power regarding the outstanding litigation over the Keel Valley project. This settlement has been publicly disclosed as a cost associated with relocating the Mississauga power plant. On November 24, 2011, I attended a Cabinet meeting where the Ministry of Energy provided a high-level update on the ongoing discussions between the OPA and Eastern Power. On May 30, 2012, I attended a Cabinet meeting which included a report back on the approved Treasury Board negotiation mandate to settle with EIG, as well as a direction to the Ministry of Energy and the OPA to continue their settlement discussions with Greenfield. I was also present at a Cabinet meeting on August 15, 2012, which included a report back on the Treasury Board order that approved $180 million for the Greenfield South settlement and $10 million for the Keel Valley settlement. Since becoming Premier, I have had numerous conversations with members of my staff, the opposition, the public, and the media about this issue. Last month, staff from the Office of the Minister of Energy told me, first, the OPA's estimates kept changing. Second, at that time, the OPA's estimate for the cost to relocate Mississauga was $271.4 million. And third, that the OPA's estimate for the cost to relocate Oakville was between $33 and $136 million. I was provided with 2 OPA cost estimate documents, which I have tabled with the clerk today, and you should have these. I understand that the OPA appeared before this committee earlier today and has once again updated their numbers. I believe that the complexity and the fact that the OPA numbers keep changing justifies my decision to call in the auditor. We need to wait for the Auditor General's report, and in conclusion, let me state this. I'm pleased that the committee has convened for almost 2 months and has heard from over 20 witnesses. It is in everyone's interest that this issue is addressed and that we have a full understanding of how to ensure the appropriate placement of energy infrastructure so we get it done correctly from the start. If we do not take the time to learn from the situations in Mississauga and Oakville, then we have failed those residents all over again, as well as all Ontarians. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to take your questions.
Thank you, Premier Wynne, first for your precision time remarks, as well as the gesture of appearing before this committee. Mr. Fideli, the floor is yours.
Thank you very